Good evening one more time. Welcome to part 3 of my mechanical fair value series. Now, if you're watching this as a standalone video, maybe you don't know about the playlist. There's a playlist. That playlist contains basically how you draw these lines, how you use these lines, everything. Well, this is how you use the lines. But you're gonna need the information from at least the middle video. There's gonna be 3. They're all going to get released at once. They're all getting in the same playlist. It's on my channel under playlists. You're going to see the one labeled mechanical fair value. Can't miss it. It's going to be it's good information. It's going to be information that we're going to be using going forward. Anyway, what is the topic of this video? This video is going to be about how to actually use this. Protocols for when the chart gets muddy, how to read the chart in the first place, and really what you're looking for, all that kind of stuff. I was going to include validation. Honestly, you don't need to know the validation rules yet, so I'll keep that short. I will keep this short and simple, and keep this video a little bit short. I know the middle one was a little long. So this one, we'll go ahead and make this one a little bit shorter. So, on the chart, there are weekly levels. Okay, this was from the one candle look back on the weekly chart, and I have the high, the open. No wait, is that the open? Yeah. Get over there. We have to be accurate. The close, the midpoint, and the other two, right? The low and the open. So we're looking at it on a 15-minute chart. Why a 15-minute chart? Because this is the minimum strong time frame. Okay. So I use strong as just kind of a relatively it's a word. I mean, this time frame is kind of special. You can actually go down to the 5-minute if you really know what you're looking for, but it really starts to break down, and you have to be really tight with your timing, with your ideas, with everything, and you really have to already know what's going to happen. So we're going to stick with the 15-minute or higher. So what are we really looking for? We're looking for price to either stab down into or stab up through one of these levels of mechanical fair value. So this weekly level, we said that with here, we'll use this one. You see that how it stabs up through and then it comes down. Never mind the fact that this failed. Okay, there's going to be a protocol for that. I'll show it to you. But never mind the fact that this failed. That's just because we were bullish at the time. And if you're watching the chart, you should have been bullish. Anyway, enough shaming of the audience. So this becomes a bearish order block, right? So these are just 2 up candles, continuous up candles, either 1, 2, 3, 5, doesn't matter. As long as they're all the same color, right? We break that low, boom, and now we're bearish, quote unquote. By the rules, we are bearish, okay? We immediately come back up, and then we start doing some cool little things. However, I want to bring our attention to something. See how we drive higher through this level, and then we make some down candles. This next up candle activates these as order blocks. Okay. So as a summary, we want to see price either drive up or drive down into the level, and it's going to create order blocks. The order block itself is either going to straddle the line or it's going to be close to the line. Okay, so those are the rules. The order block straddles the line or is close to the line, as long as the price swing stabs into the line, okay? Now, This chart is very muddy. If you weren't already bullish, if you weren't looking for bullishness to come into the marketplace and happen, this chart is going to confuse you. So, how do we eliminate confusion? Increase our time frame. So we want to go automatically, we want to go to the maximum time frame that has an order block that's reasonable, okay? That is going to keep us from getting confused. Ideally, I would want to see something on the 4 hour. But if we go forward and we see, check out what happened on the 4 hour during the time that we were looking, do those order blocks look reasonable? No, I don't think that those order blocks look very reasonable at all, right? This one has a massive wick. This one has a massive wick. This one... Excuse me. Well, they're massive. These are massive ranges to be trading order blocks, right? We don't want to be analyzing, trading, doing any activity with the marketplace. Well, with me, you're not doing any activities, right? This is my risk disclaimer. You're not doing any activities in the marketplace with my stuff, right? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But these massive ranges, they also introduce a little bit of more difficulty. So because these order blocks are not useful, we'll come down. Okay. Are there reasonable order blocks? Yes. Where? This one, we trade up. Boom. Trade up a little bit more. No, we don't invalidate it. Okay. We would invalidate this one. If you view this as an order block, which perfectly acceptable because why? You're inside this range. However, according to ICT's rules, which one is going to be the actual order block? The tall one, right? So you're going to pick the tall one, right? Then what becomes the order block? This one trades up above it, comes down into it, trades higher, okay? A lot of the ambiguity that you get in dealing with these lower time frames, it's solved by going up to the higher time frame. So we want to go with the highest possible time frame that has levels, right? Well, I'm sorry, the highest possible time frame that has anything that you can trade off of. If, well, you're not trading off of anything, right? How do I put this? The highest possible level that has anything that's reasonable. That's it. That's right. So over here, we automatically go to the 4 hour. We automatically go to the 4 hour. And then what do you see? This one, right? This is going to be an order. Is this an order block? What's the open and the close? 49.30.25, and the open is 49.30.25, right? So is that actually a bullish candle? No. But it tricked me, by the way, just now. However, it's not actually a bullish candle. Are there order blocks on this? In this range at all? In this range at all? In this range at all? No. There are no order blocks here. So what does that mean? We go down to the 1 hour, take a look, and we're going to see that, yes, we start to get order blocks, okay? We get this initial interaction. It's the height of this candle, 49.34.25. Okay, so that technically counts as an interaction. We can count this as washing out. However, we trade down underneath this, and that activates this as an order block. Once this order block is activated, all of a sudden, everything bearish just starts cascading and nothing is disrespected ever again, right? Isn't that neat? And this was an FOMC. FOMCs are notorious for breaking everything, and this respected it perfectly. It loves it, right? And you can see even the 50% level, the halfway level. Well, we can see that we traded back up into this weekly level one more time. This close, we powered through it, punched right through it. But what did we not do? We didn't break the low of this, so we didn't activate that as an order block yet. We punched up into this order block here, which by all rights, FOMC, it should have run here, but it did not do it. It came down underneath this level, activates the order block, then what happens? It trades lower. First, nothing happens, it just kind of hangs out by the order block, then it trades lower, right? Hit this low, right? What's the first thing we do? 4 hour? Okay. Are there order blocks that interact with this level that we can look at? Yes. Which ones? This one, okay? First, we can look at this one. We can see that it's not trading underneath it. And then we see this down candle, okay? Trade above it, boom. Now our order flow is bullish, right? Does it invalidate? No. Even if we traded above this candle right here, does coming underneath this low invalidate anything? No. Why not? Because there's no level. Okay? Trades higher. On the 4-hour chart, okay? So this is very, very important. This is so important. The highest time frame that has an order block that you can actually see and just reasonably work with, that's the one that you want to use. Does that make sense? But we can actually go down to the lower time frames, and well, ICT taught that. I'm not going to step on his toes. I'm not going to tell everyone basically what he's been saying this whole time. But the order flow, it's like a cascade. Once it gets going on a high time frame, it trickles down to the lower time frames. And once it gets started on the lower time frames, it trickles up, it runs up to the high time frames. If it's anchored on anything that's important, right? So so yeah, that's how we're gonna use these. Hopefully, we're gonna show a lot of examples, or hopefully, I'm gonna show a lot of examples in trade examples and streams and all that kinds of stuff, that good stuff. And let's see. I had a ton of notes on more theory, and I had a ton of notes on a proper DOM and how to see that these levels are what they are. But we pretty much covered those with. We pretty much covered that with order blocks. If you guys are curious about the DOM, I could do a separate video on that. I don't really have a lot to say about it, except it's really nice to, especially with jigsaw and things like that. It's really going to show you like dark pools and well, obviously nobody is seeing a dark pool. Nobody is seeing an iceberg. Nobody's seeing spontaneous equity dumps like that. But the way that it counts the number of trades, and the way that it counts volume, is very, very powerful because it actually exposes those kinds of things which are necessary. They're basically how this works, how you can validate this, is you want to see equity dumps, right? So what's a doji and what's a tail bar that you're gonna trust? It's a doji or a tail bar that has high volume, right? what am I outlining in the charts right here? Places where you're going to see high volume. Okay? Places where you're going to see high volume suddenly enter the marketplace. Places where the liquidity providers are going to trip and enter the marketplace, right? Algorithmically. That's a level they don't really have a choice. They set it and forget it. Okay? And once they set it, when you reach it at the time and price, both time and price, then bam, it sets them off, right? Anyway, hopefully I got, sorry. Hopefully I gave you enough to think about. As you can see on these levels, we do have the order blocks. Oh, I completely forgot. Okay, this is very, very important. We printed a bullish order block here. Boom, validated it here. Boom. Now, if you don't, well, if you want to measure price to see what it's going to do, figure out what's going to happen, what's going to go on. Well, if you need to sit and wait and measure price to figure out its bias, this is one way that you're going to be able to do it. Okay, so you see these order blocks on these levels, they're going to make market maker models basically. So on one side you have an order block, boom. On the other side you have an order block, boom, right? When the bearish version of the order block is crossed to the upside, that tells you what? Especially when you have all these important levels here, that tells you what? That we're bullish, right? Because we came in and we hedged in, we did all this business, and it's the market makers, they're tripping, you know, hitting that, hammering that with liquidity automatically based on the orders that they have on hand to fill. And then we break to the upside after they've hammered that so much, after they've tried to move it down. Well, actually, they didn't try to move it down. They earmarked this essentially as an important level, as an important place to be offloading or unloading orders, right? So positions were adjusted here. They were either put on or they were taken off, or they were switched, they were shuffled around. Once that happens and then we break it, that's kind of important, right? Because the business has already happened, right? So yeah, don't really have a lot more examples. Here's one. Order block, break to the downside, what happens becomes bearish. Okay, it was validated first, by the way. This came up and validated it, and then we broke it. Same here, came up, boom, validated, broke it. And this is the 15-minute chart. It's a little bit dodgy to be thinking about the 15-minute chart, especially this way. You kind of want to do it more during RTH. Or actually, you kind of want to do it when you don't have an expectation that's going to chop, right? Because the 15-minute, one of two things can happen. Either it can be switching directions like you're actually expecting, or it can just do this and chop. That's a property of the 15-minute. The lower the time frame that you go, the more danger that you have of that happening. So that's also another reason why I want you to be looking at the highest time frame possible that has an order block, right? So anyway, if you're still here, thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Um, Love you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will try to front load the answer before I put all the rants and all the extra nothing that basically you don't need. So anyway, I'll answer your questions. Maybe in the comments. Um, yeah, just leave them in the comments. Maybe hit me up in the community. Anything, anything. I try to be a friendly guy. I'm not a personable. I'm not a personable person. I'm not very social, but I'll try not to bite. Anyway, thank you for your time, and good night.